Hi, everyone. I know I just saw you not too long ago. Welcome back to the Mama Genius Hub podcast. These are our bonus sessions, our Q&A. Mila is one of our podcasts is already launched. I believe she's number 2 is actually, third episode. I'm so confused on all the episodes, but I know hers is published on there. Go check it out on the website now, connectingmamas.com, and click the podcast button. You'll get directly to the podcast. But let me give Mila her due introduction. She is a public speaker, writing, publishing, and public speaker coach. She is a best-selling author of 9 books, including From Cowgirl to Congress, Journey of the Suffrage on the Front Lines, a first-person account of Jessie Haver Butler, Mila's grandmother, who put together the Pulitzer School of Journalism, the first woman lobbyist in D.C., and taught public speaking to Eleanor Roosevelt. Wow. In her early 90s, Jessie shared the podium with all over Hollywood and Gloria Steinem and Marlo Thomas and took Mila along. Mila also has several more books in progress and loves to write and produce in screenplays. She developed the short book concept of giving people all over the world permission to write their short book first. And before I even let her talk, I'm going to say I'm one of those people because I'm in one of her classes right now, starting to write my short book.
Yay.
So take it away and tell us a little bit about how do we do that? Especially because these moms feel like they can't do it. They have these dreams and like they're just locked inside of them. How do we unlock them?
Well, the biggest thing I can say to you is start. Just start. People write articles about me for the last 20, 30 years, and they always end up naming it Just Start or Just Do It. And I even have some of the articles that I put in my PowerPoints. And here's the thing. Here's the secret that will help all of you parents, which really helped me because I've been a mother and I homeschooled my daughter through 8th grade and my niece because she needed somewhere to go. And so I started writing, and so 20 minutes a day is all we ask on the street on this for writers right now. If you write 20 minutes a day, you'll end up with a book. Toni Morrison, the famous novelist, she said she could only write 15 minutes a day for her first novel because that between working and raising kids. So, and even 5 minutes a day will add up to a book. And I'm always telling people the story about how my mother tricked me into becoming a writer. When I was 18, she said, Mila, I know you've always wanted to be a writer, so just write 1 sentence a day. And I thought, oh, I could do 1 sentence a day, but you can't. It's like potato chips. So by the end of the month, I was a writer. So people are saying to me all the time, Mila, you tricked me. I can't just write 5 minutes a day. I write more. And so I guess I'm doing what my mother did unintentionally and now intentionally.
I love that because I mean it is true. It's when we and I've noticed that with the writing and also with guitars. But I feel like I take those breaks in between and like then you like it takes forever to get back. But when if you consistently keep doing it daily, 5 to 20 minutes, like just keep the consistency going. And I'm working on that. And I started doing that last week with working on the mini book. I will admit I took a break because this podcast launch was a lot more than I realized with the undertaking. Not in a bad way, but just in a time that I need the mornings to make sure that things were in order for everyone out there. And so I think, but it is with that consistency as we keep doing more. Everyone's like, how do you do it all? How can you keep doing all that? But it's not about it's about choosing how we use our time, I think.
What's your priority? And you know what? If you did give 5 to 20 minutes a day, you'd become a published author. And it's really easy to do self-publishing on Amazon now. Most people don't realize this. It's completely free. What you do is you join KDP. I suggest everyone join KDP, even if you're a year off from doing your book, because you can go on there and they have a thing called KDP University, and they have a lot of tutorials and templates, and then you can also learn a lot of things from YouTube tutorials. They teach every single thing on that. And here's the other thing, doing it in little bites, is don't think you have to write a long book. The shortest book you can put on Amazon with a spine, it's good to have a little bit of a spine, is 36 pages. So what if anyone could write a 36.
Well, wait, let's pause for and take that in, everyone. 36 pages. Can we do that?
Yeah.
And so if we break down 36 pages, that's probably at 15 minutes a day. That's probably a month or two. I mean, being generous that we could do it.
Well, I think anyone could write a 36-page book in a day or two about something they know.
There you go.
and then work on it, make it better for a week or two, and then go on to Amazon, and they push you right through how to publish. And there's all kinds of tutorials that will show you also, or you take a class with someone like me. But this book here was my short book. It's 70 pages. So you can see 70 pages compared to like 400 pages. So you see it's real thin. And this book here is a real short one, like little, and that's 36 pages. You can see there's a little bit of a spine, 70, 36. And so just think small and think you do your 36 page book first. You do them in increments. And then you use that for the outline for your longer book. But that doesn't mean you take it down from Amazon. Then you do 98 pages. You can put the name on the spine. There's not room on the spine until you get to 98 pages. And then you do your comfortable 120, 135 pages. And then maybe you go up to 200, but you have all those books. So by the time you're done, you have 4 or 5 books, because the more books you have on Amazon, the more it builds your algorithms and people find you.
I love that. And the other tip I was going to be, which I couldn't, I couldn't find my books, was because the other way that I got into being a published author, which is through Mila as well, is through the compilation books.
Yeah.
And that's another avenue, which I never, I was just like, I want to be a published author. I never thought about it. So this book actually wasn't through Mila, but it was the first compilation book that I did with my daughter, Bella, and I. So we're both in the Voices of Wisdom. But then with Mila and everyone else at the family circle, we did the Parenting Owner's Manual. And so having all of us, that's another way to become a published author without taking the pressure off. And I think
no work on it, right? Like here's Cinderella Monologues, and we have 22 people in that. And so they just paid a little bit to be in it so we could pay for the editor and all that. And then they all got published without the work, just instantly.
And it's getting past that. I think some of it's the mindset. Oh, writing. I love this. It's like, they're like, writing takes so long. Like it's going to take me 10 years to write a book before I can get a book out. And I think that's the construct that we need, that I love that Mila shares, is the mindset behind it. Is because once we release the constructs of time, then I love how you just said 4 or 5 books. Let's get 4 or 5 books on Amazon. Not
out of the same book,
right.
book. Yeah. And the reason I came up with that is I've taught children's theater for centuries, 3 decades. And my, if I was at home, you would see all these plays and musicals behind me. And I wrote them long for our theater company, but then I realized as I was selling them across the world in USA, that most theater companies and churches and schools didn't have time to rehearse an hour and a half, 2-hour play. So I cut them down to medium and short. And so now, instead of 22 plays, I have 66 plays, and most people want to do the short and medium. And guess what? They were just as good as the long play. Just the long play had more parts for my 40 kids who were in it. So that's where the concept came from. But now I'm going backwards with books. So instead of the long play first, you write the short book and then expand it to the longer book. Now, let's say, Michelle, now you've been in 2 anthologies. You've been in Dr. L's and the other one. And so you take those 2 chapters, because usually when you're in anthologies, you own the material afterwards. So you take those 2 chapters and you put them into a short book. You've got a short book right there. Let's start using material we already have, like transcripts from your podcast would make a book. Blogs any of you have written would make a book. I have one woman who wrote 500 blogs. I always talk about her. She's one of my good friends now and a client. And I said, God, girl, you have 5 books there. So she started making books out of her blogs, very well written already. Turns out she has 20 books. And so she's going to take her books and make her book right now is a golden color. So she's going to take the same cover and then make the next one teal, the next one magenta, the next one purple. And this I'm doing with someone from your and my group. She helps people go to college. You all should get this book. And so she's going to make a series, and then this stripe and the letters will be different colors, primary for school. So they'll be, blue, green, yellow, orange. So those are ideas.
She's already scheduled to be on a future podcast for this one, because we need to talk about that college aspect and how to scholarship. So she'll be coming on here to give us some tidbits on that.
She's offering amazing. Her children went to college. They were homeschooled, and she got them into college for free with scholarships. They both ended up with a lot of money to live their life afterwards. They get to keep that money. Everybody should be doing her program.
It's amazing. I mean, that's what this is all about, is getting into your genius zone and learning from everyone in their genius zone. So turning to that topic, Mila, how do you feel? I'm asking all the speakers this, is like, when you're in that zone of genius, because I mean, publishing and all of that, how does your day feel, or how do you feel when you're doing that?
Well, I love writing my own books. Like I said, I have 9 bestsellers and I've written about 14 books. And I was traditionally published, but now I'm into self-publishing because it's a lot faster. You can do it in a few months, and with traditional, it might take 2 to 4 years, even though I would still try that for your bigger works. That's why I'm saving a couple of mine out. But what I love doing is helping people publish their books. I love, love, love making it possible for them, showing how easy it is. We just put out a cookbook for this group of garden goddesses that I've been in, where we have potlucks and we eat like crazy. And people love the cover so much. A cover is a business decision. And we have 17 people in this book. And the recipes are amazing because we've been eating them for years. And so because of it, I took my section out and made my own cookbook. I'm working on it for Christmas. So there's a lot of ideas.
Amazing.
Yeah. Because, well, in the class Michelle's in with me right now, we're making our short book this last 2 weeks. And the next 2 weeks, we're doing our medium or long book. And then we're doing a workbook. But the workbook could be a cookbook. I mean, it could be.
Yeah. I'm learning how to do that because I know my son's going to want to make a cookbook as well at some point.
Oh, yeah.
So
well, what about teachers? That we talked about this last time. How about teachers, or you, because you're dealing with a lot of parents? How about if you do a compilation book with the parents telling their stories, or maybe their kids do it, or a teacher? One time I was teaching a class to kids, a pretty big class. And so I've been doing anthologies forever because I like every class to end with a result. So I made a wonderful book with them, and they each wrote a letter to someone from Peter Rabbit. So it's called Dear Peter Rabbit. And they wrote to Mr. McGregor, "Oh, Mr. McGregor, we don't like that you try to kill the rabbit all the time. That's mean." Or they wrote a letter to Flopsy Mopsy or Cottontail, or to the mother, or Benjamin Bunny. So the whole book is darling, and I'm trying to find it again and get it published. I'm going to put it on Amazon soon. So that's a great thing. They could have Amazon books published for Christmas and give them to their parents and their family.
I'm writing this down right now, so everyone's a witness to it, that along the lines of living in your genius, of having stories from people, and either speakers on the podcast, kids. I almost want to do one of kids living in their genius as well.
Oh, yeah.
And really inspiring that, because I really feel that that's what it's all about, is the more that we start to identify what gives us that feeling of like the day just goes by and we're enjoying it and not feeling like it's what we have to do. And it's what we're getting to do. And that's what this podcast is all about, is really figuring that out. Because a lot of us, which is going to lead me to my next question, is we live, and even what I'm saying on the podcast is calling out busy moms, because that's how we've identified ourselves for so long. I think you were on that discussion when I started. The question is, how do we redefine that? Someone asks you how you're doing, and you respond, "Well, I'm busy doing blah, blah, blah." And that's always like a lot of times our staple answer to everything. But I want to figure out a way, and I don't even have an answer. It's just starting the conversation of, how do we redefine that? Any suggestions?
Yeah, there's a lot to that, because when I was running the theater company, homeschooling the 2 kids, and running a huge ranch, and on and on and on, and writing my books, it was a lot. And once in a while, I'd flip out, once in a while, and that's okay. If you ever watch the show Everyone Loves Raymond, which we watched all the time, I didn't like it the first few times, but then I realized all the archetypes were there. Here's the mother trying to hold everybody together, and the man's acting like a little boy sometimes, and the stepmother's interfering. And so my daughter really loved that show for some reason. It taught her so much psychology that now, as a 29-year-old, she's really good at managing people. And I really think that show had a lot to do with it. And every once in a while, Deborah flips out. So every once in a while we do, and it's okay. We don't have to make excuses for that. We're just doing the best we can, and I gave my daughter a beautiful childhood, and so we just have to do the best we can, and then forgive ourselves everything and move on. And here's what saved me all the time: exercise. If I didn't walk, I could get stressed out easily. I still walk every single day. I never miss, ever, because it lifts my spirit and makes me happy. And every once in a while, if I don't, I get anxiety. So walking gets rid of all my anxiety.
I love that so much because it is that putting yourself first. And I love that example because it relieves that for you so that when the stuff is coming at you, you're able to respond to it rather than react to it.
Even the news, hearing the news is easier if I've walked.
That makes complete sense because, again, it is the energy we're putting out there and how whatever's coming at us. Because no matter what, it's life, right? So things are going to come at us, things are going to happen, but it's what we do with it that makes a difference. And
also, you know how I say write just a little bit every day? Like I go to the gym, you know how we think, oh, we got to go for an hour or two. Well, I just go to the gym with whatever clothes I'm wearing, even if they're professional, get on the treadmill 20 minutes and walk out. So think things in smaller increments now. Even cleaning. Have you heard that new cleaning thing? That's a good thing to talk about, where while your water's boiling for your tea, you clean as much as you can and then you stop.
I've actually been doing a lot more of that, thinking just like when I'm in the bathroom, I see the counter bother me, I'll just wipe down the counter and that just makes me feel better rather than thinking I have to do the floors, everything. But it looks so much better just from the counter, which took me 2 minutes versus just walking away and leaving and thinking, oh, I have to do the whole thing all at once. And you're right. Like when we start breaking things down into bite size, it starts doing, and that's what I've been doing actually. At least about cleaning, I've been trying to clean a counter and stuff. There's kids area, they had this one desk that was bugging the heck out of me. And I was I kept asking them to do it, and it's been months and they haven't done it. So I finally just went over there. It literally took me 15 minutes. And I can walk by it now without feeling that angst inside of me because it just was something small that I could do. And I think it's looking for those little things that we can do instead of saying that has to be the big thing. I love that you brought that up.
Well, and then because that's how I'm saying about writing, right? Well, and okay, here's the guilty thing. Don't judge me, but I work really hard. I wake up at 5 and I work and I meet all these people, and then suddenly I need a break. So I'll go watch a half-hour TV program or maybe an hour for my nap kind of thing, And so what happens is during the commercials, I'll get up and clean as much as I can and then go sit down again.
The only thing I'm going to say on that one is just relax the whole entire time.
Okay, yeah, maybe so. But there's other ways. But to think about in increments and not this huge thing. And we don't owe anybody. I'm sorry, we don't.
And the one thing I want to say about TV is, honestly, I have nothing against TV whatsoever because, I'm going to sit there and binge watch this stuff. What I want to suggest to people out there on that note, though, is make sure you're actually watching something you want to watch and you're actually going out to enjoy it rather than just sitting down for the sake of sitting down and putting the TV on and saying, zoning out. Have intention behind it and a show that you love and it's going to bring you joy to watch it or something. That's my stint on that.
Yeah. Yeah, and and lately I'm doing NaNoWriMo. NaNoWriMo is when you write a book in a month on November. And a lot of families that I've talked to, when I did the theater, 1/3 of them were homeschoolers. And that's why I homeschooled them one-on-one like that. And so they, and one mother said, well, Mila, my daughter goes to school, but when she comes home, I homeschool her. So that's a way of looking at it too. And so we would, what was I going to say? Oh, and sorry, I lost my thought.
Well, we were talking, about the intention behind it and doing things in smaller increments. And you're talking about the homeschooling and the theater program.
Yeah. Well, anyway, 1/3 of them were homeschooled, and they were amazing people. And I learned a lot from them, and then my theater program was a supplemental social program for them. And then they would be in the plays, and often the kids who were the leads couldn't read because they were Waldorf. Waldorf doesn't learn till later. But one mother said, yeah, my son learned to read through being the lead and doing the scripts because the mother could help them memorize. They could memorize because they're smart. And, I just put out a book. That's what I wanted to say. I just put out another book against ADD called Sit Still. And it's about overdosing our kids who don't really have ADD because they're fidget or they're moving around, where this one principal said 2% may have ADD, but we're drugging 20% of our kids, and especially boys. And so I put out this book, but in it I have a poem called Unsung Geniuses. And it's about how every single person in the world is a genius. I mean, what if, Einstein was not a good student compared to what the teachers thought. And what if they would have interrupted his process with drugs or something and he wouldn't have invented or whatever he's told us scientifically, or Edison, same thing, Disney, all those great people had their own thoughts, and there's no way to train them because we don't know what they were going to grow up and invent. So we have to be very careful about that.
I love that. You're gonna have to send me that poem though. You have to.
Yes, it's a really good one. It's like people who just weren't, especially I have some biographies in there, autobiographies about how they tried to drug me, and then I hid all the drugs and I dumped them on the psychiatrist's desk one day, and he would never see me again. I mean, I have some really interesting poems in there, and one about my friend who's a psychiatrist. He told me a story about a boy that wouldn't get ready for school in time, which, come on, that's classic with everybody, and you have a really good remedy for that. I like your music remedy that you put into a book. That was really, really good. But anyway, so that they put the boy on drugs and he was never the same again. And so I'm really speaking out against just not the dosing, because I've had a couple kids that I had to say to the mom, okay, they do need the drug, put them back on, because they were hitting kids or whatever, But not 20%, not 20% of our kids. I'm sorry, I had to spiel that one out.
No, I appreciate it, but we are running a little bit out of time. So just any final words or notes. And again, this is all about bringing mom's genius out. And I brought you on because you really got that writing genius inside. And I think a lot of moms have it in them, but they're either afraid or just think that they can't do it or it's too much. And I want some final words from you to no, you got it in you. Let's get it out.
No fear. And just do it. Just start. Once you start, it'll be like a flow, like a funnel. You'll go, oh, I didn't know I could write so much. Oh, the Cinderella monologues, we're doing the second edition right now, and many people came back to me and said, oh my God, I couldn't just stick to 2,000 to 3,000 words. I wrote way more. And I go, well, that's okay, because that'll be your next book. So save it and pare it down. And when you start writing, you won't believe what will happen. Plus, even if you're just doing a journal for yourself, it will become cathartic and healing. And then maybe someday you'll put out a memoir of yourself. Even though your kids may not want to read it today, they will want to read it someday. So just start. And Oprah says we have to reinvent ourselves till the end. And and Minnie Pearl said something, I can't remember, about getting it done. Don't think about it. Don't wait to be inspired. That's it. Don't wait to be inspired. Do it now.
Well, it's so true. And I just want to say, if your heart's calling to get the pen and paper out, to get some ideas out, get them out, because that's what the genius is about, is listening to that call inside of us. And so I wanted to bring Mila on to show you the easy ways that it can be done, even as a busy mom out there. And we're going to start redefining that word busy. We're going to work on that. But until next time, we'll see you. Actually, I'll see you very soon, because I'll be on very shortly. Bye, everyone.